We're live and you're taking a drink all at one time.
All at one time. I thought I had a little bit more buffer time than I did.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Got Katie and Wayne here with AvTek. Um, doing a normal, securing success monthly live event. And we decided to do something a little different this month. Uh, Katie comes up and says, you know what? Let's just do a mid-year review. So I'm a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little nervous because
Late.
okay, we can do that. And what are we going to talk about? She says you'll find out. So you're going to find out just like I'm going to find out what we're going to talk about. So with that, Katie,
Yes.
what are we talking about today?
Okay, so the theme is securing growth, simplifying IT. A mid-year look at AvTek's momentum. There you go.
All right. So
Hey,
that's very broad.
I know.
So can we narrow that down a little bit?
How would you like to narrow it down?
I'm afraid to ask.
Okay. How would you describe the first half of 2025 for AvTek in one word?
Hangover.
Wayne, please.
Would you like me to explain?
Yes, elaborate.
It is not what you think.
We're not all alcoholics, okay?
Not that some might not have needed that, but
I said not all. I said not all.
what I think about is a hangover from politics from the previous year, from the election. 2024 was just crazy because everybody just did not know what's going to happen and what kind of things we're going to deal with. And then after the election, this happens every presidential election. It has nothing to do with who's really in it. It's just that's the way it is every 4 years. It seems like. And so the beginning of this year was more, people just kind of hung over from, all the stresses of 24 and not knowing what was going to go on and holding off on things. I don't know where that feedback's coming from.
I don't know.
It took a little while for everybody to really figure out what they wanted to do and started figuring out, okay, let's make these next steps. What do we need to do? And we spent a lot of time with a lot of clients looking at, okay, here's where we are. What is our next steps that we need to do to get caught up into our regular schedule things of what we normally had been doing? And what does that mean to it? And how's things going to change? Just think about, I know a lot of folks that were struggling because when, there was a lot of things that happened in the government world that hurt a lot of my friends that, their business was all around the government. And you had all these different things shutting down and downsizing and all this other. So I think for all of us, it was kind of the first 6 months is trying to get over the 18 months before that.
That's fair.
And so what I'm seeing now, we're into it now. Things are kind of moving forward. I got people working on budgeting. Things are coming in. This is what we need to go do. We got to update, and then other changes in the world has turned things upside down. The whole Broadcom thing, VMware. Oh, that really put a monkey wrench in things. So now it's really digging in, and people are coming out of that phase and starting to catch up and move forward. So hangover.
Okay, now it makes sense. Okay, so what has stood out to you as a major win this year so far, either for the clients or like for any of our clients or for us as AvTek? You can do and or.
Boy, that's there's a couple of things I would touch on is, one of the things we've been striving for, we've been focused on is improving our processes internally in our community that allows our communication to improve, how fast we can turn on things, how fast we can respond to items. And we started really, looking at how do we embrace not only, better documentation, process procedures, but how do we utilize advanced technology that also keeps our core values in place. And yeah, I'm talking about the ugly word AI, right? Uh, but one of the things that I kept hearing a lot of folks talk about is, AI is going to take jobs and all this. And in our approach to things, how we're looking at how we use AI to enable our people to be better, to be quicker, to, you know, give a response that is meaningful as quick as possible, but using AI to the advantage of get reducing the amount of times it takes us to go do that. Not eliminate the job, but make each job more efficient, where we can do more with the same amount of people. Because we
Yeah.
got to grow, and you don't want to get rid of that. So from that aspect of it, that's a big one where it took a while, just even for us, like others, is like understanding how to look at AI and how to utilize AI and not be afraid of AI,
Mhm.
but embrace it in a very smart way of doing things. And then just here recently, our primary market's banking, and for a long time there, banks were like, nope, we have a policy, not allowed, not using it, no way, no how.
Yep.
But we all know, saying no is kind of like that big red button on the wall. Don't hit it. Well, the more you tell someone not to hit it, what are they going to do? They're going to hit it, right? So with all the free tools and stuff like that, everybody's using it, whether they realize it or not. And that's the scary part.
Yeah.
But if you embrace it and put a plan around it and educate on how we use it to be beneficial to business, then you're controlling it. Not from a control standpoint saying you will not do this, but you're setting the guidelines to how they can use it and be productive in business that makes the overall business better. And in a recent event where you and I was at, I was actually going to present on something different. Then AI come up and I read the room, and they were more engaged in it than I thought. And for bankers to be engaged, like, okay, I gotta talk on this. I gotta take advantage of this.
Mhm.
And for the next hour and a half, we had an open conversation with a room full of banks talking about it that was constructive,
Yeah.
that was thoughtful, that was looking how we can do things to make us better. It was just a very interesting conversation. So to me, those are probably the two biggest things for us this year that has been eye opening. And I'm glad to see it happening.
Mhm. Okay. So shift topics, market trends and industry shifts. Just so you have that in your brain.
Market
Market trends.
trends, industry shift. Okay.
Okay. So what's changing in the cybersecurity or IT compliance landscape that our clients or even prospective clients who, are in talks with us need to pay closer attention to in the second half of this year and going into 2026?
Well, that's a good one. And some of the things that we've talked about here lately really opened up some information to that. Um, I know a couple months ago we had the IRS on, right? We talked there, and then we also had Charity Otwell from CIS on, and started talking with some other folks out there. And I was talking the other day with Chris Furlow, the president of the Texas Banker Association, and listen to what's going on. And then talking with Kate, she's legal counsel with TBA. There was some bills that got passed here recently, and the interesting part was going on when a lot of this stuff came out in mid 23, June of 23. And IRS 4557 was released, and the FTC safeguards come out and restarted pushing this. And you had, everybody outside of banking, any fiduciary type of business outside of banking was really affected by this. But of course, people wasn't really engaging it. And he's like, well, if I don't do this, who's going to come after me? Are they really actively, going to do anything? Well, at that time, not really, unless there was a breach that actually happened. So if you got breached, then here they come, right? Well, that's a big change that's happening. because now when we was having a conversation here recently, now the IRS and FTC, Federal Trade Commission, are now collaborating together about these frameworks, these rule sets, the safeguards 314.4, the IRS 4557, all these things. And they're collaborating because they're interrelated. Some people think, well, I just need to do IRS 4557 if I'm a CPA or something like that. And then other folks are thinking I only need to do the FTCs, but it's more than that. Now these two entities are actually sharing information between each other about if something are people applying this, are they doing these things, and if they're not, how do we go and take a look at them? Because the supply chain environment is where the big target is right now. And so some people think, well, it's not me, they're not going to come to it, but someone that data originated with me and downstream, someone else gets hacked, they're going to track, they being IRS and FBI and others are going to backtrace where did the data originate from, and then was it protected from there all the way through. So regardless of what we do, we all got to be diligent and start doing it, because now I like to say, teeth, they're growing teeth and they can bite. That's just like another big change, and it's not ratified yet. We're waiting to see it ratified. But what was written up from the HIPAA rules in the last December and was put out there to be looked at and accepted, and we're waiting to see what happens there. But one of the big things about HIPAA was it was vague in areas. Mm-hmm. They never really had any teeth. So people's like, well, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. With the new rules and the way it's written, it's very much like what we're doing in the finance environment. It's very detailed. And when you bring detailed, then it brings accountability. So I see moving forward in the cybersecurity and the compliance landscapes, people are going to have to get more diligent about what they're doing. Do they have policies in place? Does their processes and procedures that they do stuff match to their policies? Are they putting the information security programs in place that meet the policies? That's all cybersecurity and compliance, both. And people need to be really paying attention to that, because it's becoming where it's what I think I just heard a term this morning that 44% of all cybersecurity insurance claims are denied because people are not doing the basic cybersecurity requirements for them to pay out. Jeez. So the trend, what's coming in there, it's getting more accountability into these things. And if folks don't really start doing the right things, they don't have to do it all at one time, but you got to be making progress. You got to put things in place. Okay. I always tell everybody, you can have cybersecurity without compliance, but you can't have compliance without cybersecurity. So what does that mean? I got to start making sure cybersecurity is in place so I can build and do the other things. And a lot of folks are thinking that, well, none of the compliance frameworks apply to me. There is a compliance framework that applies to everybody. Yeah. Period. If you don't know what it is, get with someone that knows this stuff and help guide you what you need to do. Because sooner or later, you're going to need it.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of piggybacking off of what you just ended with. So how are we, AvTek, helping people prepare for what's next, especially those in highly regulated industries like we've been talking about, like financial and healthcare, CPAs, law firms?
Well, that was the whole purpose of us building our whole compliance department that we have, and it's to bring that level of knowledge and capability to folks that don't have it. Because, you get certified CISSPs and the certified folks that know how to do this, know how to document it. And a lot of people's like, it was funny. A lot of folks got into this saying, hey, we're going to do compliance. Well, they installed some tools, and then they found out the tools only do 10, 15% of the work. The other 85, 90% of work needs to be folks that love documentation. Okay. Not many propeller head techies like to do documentation. And how you're staying up to date with all the changes going on, because it's changing all the time. So that's where we really focused down in building a program that would help those folks, that would provide them a virtual CISO, a virtual compliance officer. They don't have one because now there are a lot of the different frameworks that's calling it out saying you must have these. And it can't be a dual role person. So your IT manager can also be your CISO. So we really focused on bringing programs out to help those clients, guide them. Where do they need to start? What do they need to do? Get them moving forward. So
Okay.
that's been our big focus.
Okay. So are there any specific industries where you're seeing a noticeable shift in IT or compliance needs in general? Not the ones that we know are already that they're in their day-to-day conversation.
That's a great question.
So like I know maybe like construction, they have compliant, besides the, day-to-day of the hard hat and the safety procedures and compliance needs.
Well, and some of that type of compliance is a different type of compliance when you start to, because what we really focus on is the IT compliance. Now
Well,
it bleeds over into other pieces. I grant you that.
I knew
But
that. I wasn't saying that. I just meant, does construction
it's
have
just
cyber?
example. Yeah, yeah. Um, the interesting part when I talk about compliance is there's so many different pieces, and it depends on who you do business with, where you're doing business at, and all that. So, if you're doing business in the state of New York, well, New York DFS requires you to have certain things that's different from other states. So, if you're taking credit cards, and depending on the process you do for the credit cards, you could have PCI, PCD, PCID, DSS.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing business in Europe, in GDPR,
Mm-hmm.
uh, everyone should have at least a basis of CIS because that's what cybersecurity insurance is based off of is CIS controls.
Yeah.
So to be compliant with that, um, you really have to sit down and look at what you're doing business wise and determine what all applies to you. But everybody has cybersecurity, should have cybersecurity insurance policy. And if you're doing that, then there are requirements that are based on that. So um, I think things are going to change more and more as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
AI itself is going to drive compliance requirements across everybody because AI is in everything.
Yeah.
That's another one that's going to be company wide, regardless of industry and what you're doing. So as we evolve, it's always going to be something that's going to add more. And if you're not staying up on those things, you can get behind and it can cost you.
Yeah. Okay. So circling back to AI, how do you see AI and automation impacting IT service delivery, and how are we exploring those ideas and getting ready for that?
Well, in doing IT, a lot of, that's been always a lot of discussion about, how do I take AI and do automation, and that gets turned into automediate. You'll hear automediation. I'm not a proponent of the automediation.
Okay.
Uh, I'm
Explain
a
for me, because I've heard
So
you
what
say,
automediation means is AI is doing not only the research against what's going on, but it's making a determination and it's doing the fix.
oh,
And
okay.
a human entity person is never involved in the process.
Oh, okay.
And I don't believe in that. And the
Yeah.
reason why is, you know, AI is computers. What it's best at is it can find information faster than we can humanly find
Yeah.
it. That's the beauty of it. And it goes find information based on the inputs it's given, as you'll hear prompts.
Yes.
But if I give it information, it's going to go act on the information and come back with what it finds based on its interpretation of the information you ask it for,
Yes.
right? Or not only the information you ask it for, but the actual information you give it to apply that to go do the research. Hey, go find the best way to take this document and put it into a proposal, or take this email, reshape it into an email that is more appropriate to this industry. It all depends on how you talk about it. So from an IT perspective, we all know is, hey, if a ticket comes in, a user says, I'm broke, I can't get to the internet. And then I'm going to let AI go in there and try to figure out what to go fix. Okay. No. There's interactions that I can then take and update a ticket with that then the AI engine that we're using behind it goes search not only of our knowledge base, but other things and provide information back to that tech says, here's examples of what I find. And the tech can verify that information and determine what's the appropriate and then do the fix and AI update the ticket with what we selected to go fix. That's the trust but verify. Trust AI is going to go find the information based on how I ask it to go get the information, but I'm going to verify it and then use it. To me, that's how you improve what we do to improve speed, response, accuracy, and going that. Because it's what we feed back into it is what's going to make us even better over time. And that's the whole purpose of it. So to me, if you embrace AI that way and you got it the right way, the information you're going to get back is going to be more accurate. It's not going to always be 100% accurate. That's the reason why you got to validate it and verify it and come into it. So that's the reason I say I don't want automediation. So if you take that same concept, and that's the same concept we're actually educating our customers on, is that how do I take AI and improve your business processes? Well, you know your business process, you know how it should work. So now if I got an AI go gather information, it can search a database thousands and thousands of times faster than you can to go find information about a client to come in, about previous loans, all this, their history, and you can now take that information in just a few seconds or minutes. I got this determination based off all that factual information.
Yeah.
How much better have I made that loan average? How many more loans can they actually process? What's the customer experience in return? That was fast. I can't believe you solved that fast. I can't believe you was able to help me get my loan that fast. And you're building that relationship. You keeping those core values of what you made your business successful. That's, to me, the true way to use AI.
Like it. Okay. Moving topics. Topics are team and leadership.
Okay.
So how is the AvTek team evolving to meet growing demand for cybersecurity, IT, and compliance guidance?
Wow. Boy, where'd you come up with these questions? You use AI to come up with these questions? Of course you did. See, but they're good questions. You picked the right one. So you put in there, got questions, then you verified them, and you said, okay, this will be good. Great question.
Thanks, ChatGPT.
Private.
Well, a private and very well trained ChatGPT.
I was gonna say, you've been training your bots very well.
My bot is very well trained. It's not.
Well, one of the things that we're endeavoring and what we're going into it as we evolve, and the leadership team and AvTek is bought into and understand why we need to do it as we evolve, is, we've been servicing very regulated environments, banks, CPA, lawyer firms, you name it, right? Local governments, things of that nature. And as we go along, everything we do, we want to make sure secure. We're using tool sets that have due diligence about the tool sets, the trust centers, and all that about what's being done to make sure that the tool sets we're using, the process we're using, are meeting the cybersecurity and compliance requirements of whoever we're dealing with. Okay. And we're always looking at it that way. We got it now where it doesn't matter if it's our finance, if it's services, it's marketing, it's sales, it's management. It doesn't matter who of us. We're all talking with that same frame of reference, talking about security and talking about compliance and making sure we're doing those two in combination. even so much to where even though we didn't really have to, we're putting ourselves through SOC 2 audits, and where we got an outside firm coming in and performing SOC 2 audit on us and readiness. So we know that we are practicing what we preach. And it's not just us telling them, we've got it validated by a third party.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's extremely hard. It's not a cheap thing to do. And anybody that's gone through SOC 2 knows it's not a cheap thing and it's intensive. So the beauty that we've learned is because of what we do and what we've been doing for other customers, we've inherently been doing it for ourselves. So we have a lot of documentation. We have a lot of procedures that we have. What we're finding is the gaps where we inherently been doing this for so long. Yeah, we follow a process. Everybody follows the same thing. It's just not documented in the right place. And now we're shoring those things up, putting those things in place to where as we scale, we're continually scaling in the right way. So with the leadership team, it's at that point where if the whole leadership team is not on the same plate, is not rowing in the same direction, that makes it extremely hard for everybody. And so I'm proud of our team that not only looks at it from what we're doing internally, but we have that same frame of reference with how we go to our client, regardless of which part of our company it is. We're all always approaching it the same way. And so consistency is what I consider the best thing about leadership is being consistent in what you're doing, lead by example. And I'm proud of our team that's doing that.
Yep. So, any specific shout outs you'd like to share? Team members, departments, or partners who have gone above and beyond for us so far.
Oh, man.
I shout out.
All right, go ahead.
Well, he probably doesn't want me to say his name, but he can get over it. Matt, our services manager, the way that he has, because like bringing on the new techs from when we merged with Ally in Arkansas, and the way that he, handled it and got everybody, brought in at first, everybody was like Arkansas people and then the Texas. And then he like did such a good job of bringing all of the techs together that they just think of themselves as the service department now. There's not the separation of locations, and he knocked it out of the park. He works so hard and puts in so many hours, so much effort. I think Matt's done a lot.
I would agree with that. It's when you're a small organization, 21 people, if all 21 are not rowing the same way, you know it real quick. And this core team that we've had for a lot of years, and that's one of the things we're blessed about is we got a core team that's been together for 15, 16, 17 years.
15. Andy's been here 15 years. We talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Okay. And Matt's been here longer than him.
And
Jessica's right there behind him. And if you look at the core team, we've been together that's really laid the groundwork and the foundation. Anybody knows me, I always talk about a foundation. If you don't have a strong foundation, you're building a house of cards and it will crumble. We've been through a lot of trials and tribulations. We've been through market turn downs and we've been through market trends that change on a dime and you got to adjust. And when you're a small company, that can be tough.
Yeah.
We've always met the challenge. We squeak by it every once in a while because some of the changes are tough, and when you're sitting that way. But we've met those challenges head on, and each time we learn from them. We learn what not to do.
Yep.
We weather the storm, and we come out of it stronger. So, for me, sitting here and looking at it from my view, I always look at it as the AvTek team. I have to because it takes a team to get it done.
Sure.
And coming from my background, there was a team of 117 guys. If any one of them not doing their job, it could mean life or death for the folks that's on the submarine. Doesn't matter if it's the cook. Doesn't matter if it's a sonarman or an engineman or an auxiliaryman or a quartermaster. It doesn't matter. Every job, something in that job can be deadly to you if you don't. So always look at it from the team aspect. And if we're being successful and our clients are being successful, then the team is what wins. And so I'm always proud of it that way. It's hard for me to call out any one person from my perspective because I look at it that way.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Now, I love it when customers call me and give shout outs to people that's doing great jobs. Now that's different. And I love that because I get phone calls about such, I've gotten phone calls on Matt, Donnie, Trey, Zach, Andy, Jessica,
Mhm.
Katie, and Lola. I get calls about different people from different areas, whether it's vendors and whether it's clients, whatever. It talks about what such a good job this person does for AvTek. That for me, that's nirvana. I could care less what anybody says about me, but people talking about the team and get them kudos because it takes a team. That's what I thrive on.
Yeah,
Probably not the answer you want, but there it is.
that's interesting. I wasn't expecting any type of answer. Okay. This is what happens when you work with your phone. Subject change. Looking ahead. So later, the end of Q3 and start of Q4 for 2025. What's on your radar for the second half of the year? Any strategic initiatives or service expansion?
Really, what the two things that we're really glad we're doing is we've expanded our what we're doing for some of the communities that we're in. We've been doing the Texas Banker Association, the Independent Banker Association in Texas, those two communities for a while, and know a lot of great folks in those communities. But we joined the Community Bankers Association of Georgia, and we'll actually here in a couple of weeks we'll be in Amelia Island, Florida, at the Ritz at their annual conference. So really looking forward to that. And got two other events with them after that. Really looking forward to meeting those bankers and making great relationships. And shout out to ACG, Atlanta Computer Group, one of our customers that actually has to be associate member there at the Community Bankers Association, and they're gracious enough to introduce us to folks and look for it. And Lindsay, I can't say enough about Lindsay; she's been great. Uh, so really looking forward to that. And then, continuing on our strive on compliance and our doing managed services for the bankers. Uh, but the other thing that we announced, did a soft announcement on here just about a month ago, and you'll see more coming out about it, is our compliance readiness program has been doing so good. And we had a lot of MSPs come to me and ask me, hey, could we resell what you do? How could we get involved with you? Well, after we set it up, proved, and all that, we actually announced we have a compliance ready program for MSPs. So you can actually white label or resell
Mhm.
our our compliance program to your customer base, and we provide all the tools and resources to go do it and help you support your client base. Because compliance, it can be a beast in itself, and everybody's going to be affected by it. So we look at it how we can help those out there that need help, and we're here for you. And reach out. We'd be happy to speak with you about that. And I'm looking forward to all the bankers that we're about to meet here in Georgia. So
By the way, Lois commented on the LinkedIn, said, "We are pretty amazing."
do what now?
Lois commented on LinkedIn and said, "We are pretty amazing." Okay, so kind of off of what you just said, are there areas, geographic or industry, where we're looking to deepen our footprint?
Well, my background's come from the enterprise space, and so I've been doing business all over the world and have for many, many years. So I'm an old believer of the old movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So if you need our help, it doesn't matter where you're at. We're more than willing to help you. It's just always been that way. We got customers from coast to coast all over the United States. So we're more than happy to help whoever. So, territory or region or that's never been a limitation to us. Um, so, uh, from what was the other half of the question?
Are there areas, geographic or industry?
Oh, industry's the other way. So geographic, I took care of that. So sorry.
You hit that one.
And when it comes to industry, again, I talk about us being in, we call financial, we banking and anything that touches a bank. That's what we call our target market. So that pulls in, CPA firms, lawyer firms, title companies, you name it, ATM manufacturers, uh, AACG. Um, but we also have clients in construction, medical, um, manufacturing, retail. We have customers a little bit everywhere. Okay. Customers need help. We're willing to help, and we're not going to turn anybody away. Um, our backgrounds come across many different industries. We've done work in a lot of those industries, building large scale infrastructures for those type of industries. So we know it and can help with it anytime. So to me, it's not a target of where add another industry on and stuff like that. It's who needs help. How can we help you? And that's what we're focused on. That's what I care about most.
Okay. What does success look like for AvTek by the end of 2025?
Great question. From a business standpoint, getting back to where the health of the business. I mean, we're healthy now. We want to get back to our standard numbers and our targets that we budget for and do that. But what I would say is adding about another 10 clients that are whether it's managed or co-managed, that need compliance help and looking at what we do and what we do best. And if we're adding those clients on and doing that job, that means all facets of the business is doing right. Our message for marketing is on target. Our market research and everything we're doing, we're getting out there and we're finding and uncovering the needs of the client base that we have. And we're able to meet with them and build that relationship that's so important and deliver the services. And you talk about Matt and his services team delivering, or David and his compliance team delivering those services. We're doing those things, and those clients we add on are reference accounts because that's everything. That's my goal. What I want is every client we bring on can be a reference account. That's what we target. So if we do that, that's success. And that will always be success. Anytime you ask me that, is are we adding clients on because we're meeting a need they have. We're being consistent on how we deliver those services. So we built that relationship. As I talk about the AvTek family, AvTek family is not just my home family, but my work family, but our clientele is part of our family. If we're growing that family, that's success.
Okay. All right. So, what's one action item or mindset you'd encourage our clients to adopt right now to stay protected and positioned for growth?
I can only pick one.
What's like top priority? Like something that they can at least start with?
The easiest and simplest thing that we find most people are not doing, they're getting better at it. I got to give a little credit here. They're getting better at it because it's been preached so much. But education to me is king of all, right? So do your security awareness training and not only doing the training, but make sure from IT perspective, whether you all IT in-house or you got a managed service provider, it doesn't matter what type of scenario you have. Make sure from your business standpoint, you're not only training, you have a program to do training, role-based training. You're training people based on the roles they're in from a security and awareness, but also do the phishing test,
Yep.
do the simulations. Okay. Because even our own folks, and we put ourselves through this all the time, we have to be compliant. What we're able to do, and we can go in and customize training now to a point where it's so believable, we got our own senior level text to click
Oh, really?
in a simulation. That's what you come in. It's getting that real coming into it is you go and do those things and make it real. The AI and what's coming into it and what deep fakes and all that. If you don't see it and you're not training on it and testing yourself on it, it is extremely easy to click on something because it's getting that good. If you know what to look for, and you and I talk about this all the time because we're doing AI stuff all the time, so we know what to look for. But anybody knows me when I talk, you see how much movement. I'm not a very still speaker, and most people aren't. They have their body language. And if you look at AI hasn't gotten really good about how to do the body
It
language.
can't mimic natural because everybody's so different of how they talk when they move. Me
Right.
and you are very hand talkers, and our heads move and we move like our body moves naturally, and it can't emulate natural body movement because it's so different and differentiated between each person.
It's
You know?
getting better at those things depending on what it is.
Yeah.
But there's way. Now, if you're doing your training and where you see that,
Yeah.
then you will start picking it up, know what the video. There'll be something, whether it's around the mouth or the eyes
The
or
perfect
body movement. You can pick those things up. So to me, it's the evolution of education. You've got to be educating yourself. How do you educate yourself on how to use AI? I really tell everybody you need to be looking at and educating yourself about how to use it to improve your work process, not replace your work process.
Well, and that was our whole conversation at that TBA event. The
Yeah,
viewing
exactly. Yeah,
that came our whole conversation was because we had that one who asked about the marketing department wanted to use him, and I'm like, they could just use the AI video, but they can do it in a way where they're like, put you side. It doesn't have to be him. I told him it doesn't have to be you, but they can put the real person next to the AI generated person, and you can point out, be like, they are similar, but once let's look at, so they can, so the older community, because they're now, I'm not saying they're the only ones. And I said older. I'm talking about you, Mr. Full White Beard. Calm down. But you can start picking out, you can show people what to start looking for because you're right. Me,
yeah.
I, I'm like, I see an email and I'm like, that's a phishing email. Okay. And I click my little button and it's like, congratulations, you passed the simulation. And I'm like, yeah, no, I just get it out of my inbox. But not everybody can point, like, because if they don't use AI in their everyday workflow, they're not going to see it. But I use it every single day. So
Yep.
I have to be able to point it out.
Cool. All right. So what you got next?
How can clients take better advantage of the services AvTek already provides?
Give us a call.
Yep.
I'm not going to sell you. I'll educate you that we want to learn about what you need. What are the issues you're fighting? What are you looking to do? And we just sit and have a conversation. We
Yeah.
talk about what's going on and understanding, and we can explain what we do and what services we have and all that. But what is it we need to solve? What keeps you up at night? And is that something we can solve? And if we can, we will. If we can't, one, I do the research. Myself, my team does the research. Can it be something we can solve for you and go do it? Or do I know someone that I would recommend to you to go solve that problem? We're not just going to try to just close business with you just for the sake of closing business. If
Yeah.
it's not something we're good at.
No.
If it's someone else is better, I'm going to recommend you to someone I would trust to do it for me. Okay. So the best way to get started is just have a conversation. You know, I mean, go to our website and just book a 30-minute call. Let's just sit and have a conversation. Or if you want to meet face to face, reach out and we'll schedule something. I'd be more than happy to come meet with you. But let's just have a conversation.
So then the final wrap up. Any closing thoughts or resources you'd recommend for businesses navigating IT complexity in today's climate?
Wow, Jesus, beats.
I put in a lot of effort to get all of these questions, just so you know.
Repeat the question again.
Any closing thoughts or resources you'd recommend for anyone navigating IT and cybersecurity today in today's climate and where everything is?
Well, closing thoughts is with AI and what's going on there, if you're not sure about how to go about it or what to do, and just want to just sit down in a conversation and just do spitballing, the whole throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks, right? Give us a call and sit down and have a conversation. There's a lot of different things, and just because what works for one company might not be the same thing as for you, in looking at. So one, get started, pick something, do it, and learn. In your business, your marketing is a great place to start it because you'll learn so much. We've done that. What Katie has done with our AI side on the marketing has been phenomenal. Even so much, people want her to come and talk to their marketing groups to talk about what we do with AI. Yep. Am I
I'm
lying?
Mary.
Hi, Mary. Um,
Yeah, thanks for that, Mary. Thanks for creating more work for me.
um, but I'd say get started. Get started there. That's one of the things I'd highly recommend. And then, when you're looking at there's so many different resources you go off there. If you're really thinking about what's going on with, you feel like okay, compliance doesn't apply to you or not. There's a lot of different things you can talk to folks about when it comes there. But I'd look to see what IRS and FTC is putting out. There's a lot of information, but I'd be up on it and what's going on. Um, and try to get yourself educated on how it may affect you. Um, the other thing is, since cybersecurity insurance is applied to everybody,
Yeah.
your agent, very few, and when I say very few, probably less than 1% of all insurance agents even knows what all is actually spelled out in an insurance policy, cybersecurity insurance policy. It's the underwriters that actually put the information into it. We find many, many folks that's got cybersecurity insurance policy, believe they're covered, but when we do a free look at the actual policy, we find out, okay, you signed this policy, said you got this, and this in place, and you actually don't. Which means if something happens, that puts you in that 44% that I talked about earlier. It's an easy thing to do. It don't cost you no money, but it'll give you peace of mind that you're doing the right thing. So if you got a policy, that'd be the other thing is get it evaluated for someone that knows how to do this and find out if you do have the right things in place to meet that policy so it takes care of you when you need it, because it's just a matter of when.
I
The
need to
way
find our landing page with our checklists that we have. One, I
Yeah,
need to see if
yeah,
it's checked.
exactly. Yeah, we can put that up. Sure, sure.
I need to,
Uh,
I need to find that.
the landscape is changing so fast. Things get added on really quick. Just in 2 years, the list of things that cybersecurity insurance calls out now that you have in place has changed dramatically. So again, it all goes back to one word: education. Always be educating yourself, moving forward. You don't have the time, find somebody that's willing to help you.
Yep.
We believe in the education. That's the reason why we do these things, is just share what we do and how we do it, and try to help folks. Educate yourself on it or get help doing it.
Okay.
That sound great? That's good.
Fantastic.
This is fun. I like this. I like doing these. These are fun. Great questions, by the way. I had to think a little bit on a couple of them.
I love them.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
that's great.
you. I like
Now
me.
you can only go up from here, right?
Let's not put too many expectations.
All right.
I like
Well,
to meet expectations.
it sounds great. Well, I tell you what, for everybody that joins and everybody that watches this later, I hope you get something out of it. I enjoy doing this because I like sharing. If you ever want to just sit and have a conversation, reach out to me. Easy, whether it's on LinkedIn or whether you want to go to our website and book some time with me. Love to speak with you. Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing well. And stay vigilant because it can be a scary world out there. So with that, Katie, thank you very much. And to all of y'all have a blessed